Should you find yourself persistently burdened by confusion or a sense of despondency, it is not merely a happenstance. This is your intuition, your subconscious, signaling a cautionary message. Jung posited that intuition is neither a mystical phenomenon nor a manifestation of paranoia. It is profound insight, perceiving nuanced signals that elude your conscious awareness, such as variations in tone, incongruent expressions, or minor discrepancies. Your discomfort serves as valuable information. Do not overlook it. They adopt a passive-aggressive stance, providing tepid support or subtly undermining your achievements. Your illumination poses a challenge to their unaddressed shadows. Rather than confronting their own shortcomings, they seek to diminish your brilliance. One might encounter expressions such as, "Are you certain that is a prudent course of action?" Or, "Exercise caution and refrain from premature conclusions." What may appear as concern frequently masks a deeper sense of envy. Jung articulated that envy is the shadow's response to the advancement of another. Their reluctance to acknowledge their sense of threat is evident. Yet their behavior reveals their true sentiments unmistakably. Their expressions diminish in the face of your accomplishments. They vanish during your moments of triumph and resurface in times of adversity. These individuals do not represent adversaries. Frequently, these individuals are close friends, partners, or even family members. This proximity renders their influence more difficult to recognize and more distressing to eliminate. One places their faith in others, thereby lowering their defenses. However, such trust does not shield one from the tumult of existence. Only consciousness does amidst the nuanced indicators the depletion of emotional resources, the subtle art of manipulation cloaked in envy. Yet, there exists one that eclipses them all in peril. A coherent manifestation of disorder. Individuals profoundly influenced by their shadow embody instability in all aspects of their existence. Their lives are characterized by conflict, drama, and disarray. Should you draw too near, that energy inevitably intertwines with your own reality. They do not merely endure challenging periods. These are the challenging times. Discontent trails their presence. They depart. Fractured relationships leave a residue of emotional turmoil and perplexity in their wake. They are not merely experiencing a challenging period. They exist within one. They have no desire to escape. Rather, they seek companionship amidst the turmoil. That represents a significant risk. There is no necessity for them to actively desire to inflict harm upon you. Their tumultuous behavior has become so ingrained that they remain oblivious to its effects. Nevertheless, it will inevitably deplete your energy, disorient your thoughts, and lead you into a state of decline. Thus, what measures can one take to safeguard oneself from such individuals? Initially, place your confidence in your instincts. The nuanced sensation in your abdomen, the tightness in your chest, that elusive feeling of unease, do not dismiss it. Even when all appears well externally, your body and subconscious may be discerning underlying nuances. Impute that your analytical mind has not yet comprehended. Carl Jung highlighted the notion that the unconscious frequently possesses knowledge prior to the conscious mind's awareness. Your feelings are not devoid of reason. Your intrinsic understanding is endeavoring to safeguard you. The cosmos is issuing a forewarning prior to the tempest's onset. Our society cultivates a tendency to suppress our innate instincts in favor of reason and decorum. However, in circumstances such as these, one's intuition emerges as the most trustworthy compass. Observe the manner in which your energy transforms in the presence of specific individuals. Should you sense a dissonance, even in the absence of a clear rationale, it is prudent to regard it with gravity. Next, take note of the recurring patterns. Individuals disclose their true selves gradually, not solely through their verbal expressions, but also through the patterns and rhythms that characterize their lives. An individual perpetually enmeshed in turmoil, who consistently perceives betrayal, yet refrains from acknowledging their own role in their suffering. This represents a discernible pattern rather than mere coincidence. Patterns hold greater significance than mere promises. A considerable number of these individuals may present themselves as victims, articulating narratives of how they have been wronged by others. The inherent inequities of the world are striking, as it seems to perpetually draw individuals of questionable character. However, the reality is when disorder trails an individual incessantly, it is not invariably a matter of mere misfortune. It is frequently due to their role as the origin of that disorder. If every relationship they have previously experienced concluded in turmoil, do not presume that your relationship with them will yield a different outcome. You are unlikely to be the exception. It is unlikely that you will be able to rescue them. Your affection, compassion, or understanding cannot mend an individual who is unwilling to confront their own internal struggles. Jung elucidates that until the unconscious is brought into the realm of consciousness, it will govern our existence, leading us to attribute our experiences to fate. If they have not yet come to terms with their inner shadows, they will persist in their cyclical, detrimental behaviors, inevitably pulling others into their turmoil. Establish boundaries and maintain them with resolve. Boundaries should not be perceived as barriers that isolate individuals. Rather, they function as gateways that safeguard your vitality and tranquility. Engaging with individuals who exhibit emotional instability transcends the mere act of declining requests. It fundamentally involves affirming one's own needs and boundaries. Such individuals frequently demonstrate a tendency to challenge or disregard these limits. They will invoke feelings of guilt. They will suggest that you are forsaking them. They will insinuate that you are selfish or lacking in compassion. However, this is a facet of manipulation. It is nuanced and frequently unintentional, yet it wields significant influence. They are accustomed to others navigating their emotional turmoil. When you cease to engage in that behavior, it poses a risk to their established framework. However, your responsibility does not extend to shouldering their burdens. You are neither their therapist, nor their problem solver, nor a receptacle for their emotional burdens. One can exhibit compassion while maintaining the integrity of one's mental well-being. One can exhibit concern without allowing oneself to be entirely enveloped by it. Ultimately, embrace tranquilly with intention and without reservation. There is no necessity to diminish your brilliance for the sake of others' comfort. You need not minimize your aspirations, your happiness, or your expressions simply because another may feel intimidated by them. Individuals who find your progress unsettling are not destined to accompany you on every segment of your journey. Allow them to depart. Your tranquility holds greater significance than their validation. The paramount relationship one can cultivate is with one's own intellect and emotions. Protect it with unwavering diligence. Select connections that enrich your spirit rather than those that drain it. Select surroundings that foster understanding rather than ambiguity. And resolve to remain in your brilliance regardless of those who may attempt to draw you back into obscurity. Carl Jung's insights illuminate the notion that darkness does not pose a threat merely by its presence. Rather, it becomes perilous when it is left unacknowledged, overlooked, and externalized onto others. The individuals we have discussed should not be objects of hatred or fear. Rather, they ought to be acknowledged for their true nature. Failing to discern their patterns with clarity and continually extending them the benefit of the doubt may lead to a profound disconnection from oneself. This disconnection represents the most significant loss of all. It is not merely a matter of emotional unease, but rather the gradual dissolution of one's identity, the obscuring of clarity, and the disruption of inner tranquility. Heed your intuition with you and illuminated a concept more distinctly, confidence, or challenge without uttering a single word. Professional negotiators and business leaders frequently employ this technique with intention. Recognizing that consistent eye contact emanates confidence, and can occasionally provide a strategic advantage in high-stakes scenarios. This approach is not inherently aggressive or hostile. Rather, it serves as a nonverbal means of assessing one's counterpart. Furthermore, it may indicate that they are concealing their genuine emotions. This could manifest as shyness, curiosity, or even attraction. Such a neutral expression acts as a facade, obscuring these more delicate sentiments. Consider this. When we find ourselves drawn to another individual, yet experience a sense of apprehension, we frequently attempt to mask our feelings with an impassive expression. This phenomenon similarly applies when we harbor curiosity about someone, but wish to avoid appearing overly eager. Our gaze may instinctively gravitate towards the object of our interest, while our facial demeanor remains meticulously